Namaste. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to our Weekend with Wisdom series. And in this week, we will be discussing about a very important topic, a topic that is very close to my heart, understanding Vedanta through the Kathopanishad. And to take us through this topic, we have with us Dr. Jayakumar Srinivasan ji. Namaste, Jayakumar ji. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and agreeing to do this session with us. Before I go ahead and introduce Jayakumar ji, I would like to chant a prayer. Om. Samastajana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidwaram. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dr. Jayakumar is founder of Arsha Seva Kendram, Coimbatore, an institution for Advaita Vedanta and Sanskrit. The founder of Arshavidya Satsanga, Houston, and co-founder of the Indian History Awareness and Research, IHAR Initiative, a forum to research, understand, and disseminate awareness of Indian history as experienced by Indians. He also has over 25 years of experience in chemical industry. Once again, thank you so much, Jayakumar ji, for joining us and doing this session with us. Without further ado, I would like to invite you and take over the session. Over to you, Jayakumar ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Srihari ji, and thanks to Indika Academy for inviting me today. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
So this session, this series of sessions, is going to be an introduction to Vedanta. We all need introductions to a topic like this because we are not taught about this in school or college or anywhere else. And it is important, but then everybody who teaches or talks about something says that that subject is important. And not on top of that, our idea is that anything that is important to us has been taught. They are teaching. That's why I go to school. That's why I go to college. That's what the youth is going to think. Therefore, everything that is important has been taught. So, what is all this Vedanta and Veda stuff? It's all, if it is important, I'll come to it later. So, after, let me make a life and then come to it. That's how we end up. And so therefore, I hope I can't see how many of you logged in and things like that. And so I'm assuming some of you are out there. And introduction to Vedanta can be given in various ways, but we are going to use some of the mantras of an Upanishad called Kathopanishad to understand that Vedanta, some of the essentials of Vedanta. Okay. Now, they say, often they say, we are taught how to survive, but not how to live. Okay. Have you heard this statement? Some of you may have heard the statement. Our curriculums and all that, they give us a lot of knowledge, no doubt. They make us into engineers, doctors, psychologists, and architects and nutritionists and whatnot. You know, if somebody gets admitted into a hospital, you go to the hospital. These days, it's all great. The sense you go there and you're admitted for you means somebody is admitted, okay, for a few days, 4 or 5 days. That is enough. You can see the technology. And doctors are coming in, and one fellow says, I'm a nephrologist. Another fellow says, hello, my name is so and so. I'm a nutritionist. Then, hello, I am so and so. I'm what do you call that? Cosmetologist. And they're keeping on coming and going and coming and going. You can see how much science is advanced. But they make sure you stay there for a few days, 4 or 5 days, and then after that you pay the bill, and then you wonder what happened, and then you pay the bill and you go. So obviously science has advanced quite a bit, and but Vedanta, Vedas and all, it's a bit tricky because we have not heard about it. Somebody, the patient who was admitted asked the doctor, and it was some terminal illness or something, but the patient took it quite nicely and was happy and all that. So the patient asked the doctor, doctor, what happens when we die? What happens when we die? You know what the doctor said? The doctor said, we will pack you up in a bag and then put it in a mortuary. We will call your family. We will clean up this room and this bed, and then the bed is open for somebody else to come. This is what the doctor said. But the patient is asking, what happens after death? What happens? I mean, am I going somewhere? Where am I going? What happens? There's so many stories on these things. So this is an interesting thing because Nachiketa, who is a small boy, young boy, in this Kathopanishad is unique because it has a beautiful dialogue between this boy and the god of death, Lord of death, Yama. So it's very inspiring from that perspective. Beautiful story comes. So we'll see all that. And so that young boy also asked the same question: what happens after death? And so that's what initiates that dialogue, and then it leads to this so-called Brahmavidyaa, etc. Okay. So some background we need about what is it the human being is seeking. So, we get exposed to all these things, bits and pieces we hear as we grow up. And then suddenly, when we are 50 or 60 or something, it strikes us, you know what, I have to study Bhagavad Gita. Oh, I'm not. Why should you study Bhagavad Gita? No, it's a middle age crisis, this, that. I think, all people have studied Bhagavad Gita, so there must be something in it. So I also must study Bhagavad Gita. That's how we all end up in these places. And so we have to look into, when we get into a formal study of Vedanta, we need to ask some basic questions. Like, what is a human being seeking? What am I seeking in life? We generally say, I want to get a degree. I want to get a job. Correct. Those are all things we seek. And then after that, what? Then I want to get a promotion. Then I want to get a better job. I want to work in a multinational company. We have all kinds of ideas. All options are there. Then in between, I have to get married also. Then marriage is there. Then children are there. Family grows. So like this, a lot of responsibilities are there. So I want this, I want that. It keeps on going. But then we never ask the question, what exactly are we seeking in life? Okay. We seem to do what everybody else does. We learn from our parents, we learn from our friends, and then we lead a life. That's it. But then our Shastram analyzes that very well. It's a very popular analysis, and everybody accepts that as complete. And that is called Purusharthas. Purusharthaha. Chaturveda Purusharthaha. That is what is said. And all of us know it to a large extent, but since we all, everybody has to come to the same page. So, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Chaturveda Purusharthaha. And universally applied. Universally, what is the human being seeking, if you ask? They are seeking these four things. What are the four things? Artha. Let's start with Artha. Artha is good. Artha means security. The child needs security when it is born, and its security comes from what? Some hand must be there, some big hand holding the child. Child smiles. Then child is smiling and all. Suddenly it will start crying. Crying means what? The mother knows. Okay, time for feeding the baby. That's it. Hunger. I am not happy being hungry. Therefore I cry, and then I get something to eat. Then I'm happy. Then happy. Then again crying. Then the mother knows. Oh, some problem is there. Stomach pain. Something pain. Pain also we don't want. So then something is done, pain is removed. Those days they used to have something called grape water. I don't know if they're selling grape water now, but I remember giving grape water to my sister, young baby sister. And so, grape water. Then smile. That advertisement was like that. The smiling baby. Okay? And so everybody used to buy grape water. So that's all that baby needs. This pain, relief from pain. Hunger also is pain only. And so pain. I don't want pain. That's it. And then security, as the child grows up, the mother has to be nearby. Child sees a cockroach and then suddenly runs away and then goes to the mother. And then mother says, come. And then child holds on to the mother, and then child is secure and then comes close to the cockroach. And then security. So fear from all these other things. Fear is always there. That fear comes from so many places. We know that. So that is called security. Artha means security. Food, shelter, and clothing. Security. All security. Then once security is guaranteed, then the mind says, you know what? Let's go have an ice cream. Let's all go to the ice cream parlor. They have started one recently. Let's go there. Beautiful place it is. So what is that? That comes under the category of kama. Kama. Kama means desire, pleasure. Pleasure. So once security is guaranteed, I'm ready to spend that same money that I worked so hard to earn, and I'm ready to spend it to gain that karma, entertainment, pleasure, etc. And so this is called the second Purushartha, Kama. Then there is another Purushartha called Dharma. Dharma is so important because I can earn money in many ways, but then I am supposed to earn money in the proper way. I can't, the stealing, deceiving, cheating, bullying, all these things are all coming under, we know that. I know that I don't want to be deceived, and I know that you also don't want to be deceived. Nobody in the world wants to be deceived. Therefore, I can't resort to that. So it's common sense ethics, common sense ethics. That is what dharma is. And in the context of Veda, dharma also means punyam and papam. Every Hindu, let's use the word Hindu for the sake of discussion here. Every Hindu knows of punyam and papam, and I do things properly so I can get some punyam. And that punyam will help me in this life, and it will help me in the next life also. Shastram says there is also next life. So, artha, once artha is given, I need kama. Kama is there, dharma is always there. Dharma is underlying artha also. Dharma is underlying kama also. My enjoyments also must be in keeping with dharma. Okay. Dharma artha kama. This is basic. Then there is something called moksha. We'll come to that. We'll come to that in a minute. It will come. So our Vedas is our source book, grantha. In English, they use the word scripture. Vedas governs the life of every Hindu, every Sanatana Dharmi. Okay? And the Vedas is, what does the Vedas do? We are not taught what the Vedas is. In the school, we are not taught, college, not taught. So, is it a book? Is it, they say Shravana, Karna Parampara and all? Is it there somewhere? These days, online internet, Veda. Type Veda, and then suddenly you'll get something.veda.gov.in. So the government of India has suddenly decided they should provide the Vedas online. So it's available. And of course, Veda Patashalas and all are there. So Vedas, we know Vedas is very much there. But we don't quite know what is in the Vedas. Shruti is a name for Vedas also. Shrutihi. Shrutihi means what? That which is heard is called Shrutihi. And traditionally, Vedas were passed down through this Karna Parampara, chanting, memorizing, studying, teaching that way, without any, all these PDF files. These days, PDF file, whatever you go, they send a PDF file, and it's 100 megabytes PDF file. And where do you first you have to think, where should I keep it? Should I save it? Will I have time to read? No time to read all these things, but still I have terabytes of PDF files are there. Those days, no PDF. This was the PDF those days. You go to the Veda Patishala, these kids, they will be chanting. We conduct this program periodically. For 4 days, the entire Yajurveda chanted. Taittiriya Brahmanam, Taittiriya Samhita. Chanted, memorized. So when they are children, they start memorizing it. And then after that, they study the meanings and things like that. And that's how the tradition was. So, what, okay, who wrote the Vedas? This question arises sometimes. Who wrote? Because whenever we talk of a text, somebody, there must be an author. Our Shastram, look at our thinking, very, very profound thinking it is. Our Shastram says, knowledge is not created by anybody. Knowledge is not created by anybody. Knowledge is always there for you to discover. I don't know Chinese language. I can study Chinese language and I can improve. I can get better at it. Chinese language is always there. Who invented Chinese language? Tough to answer. Who invented Sanskritam? Tough to answer that question. They say Deva Bhasha. It's been there for a long time. Who invented the iPhone? iPhone was an invention, obviously, because for some years ago there was no iPhone. The word itself did not exist. Forget about the object. Okay, so somebody made the iPhone. What we say is the science required, the knowledge required to make that iPhone, to manifest that technology, was always there for anybody to do. Anybody can make that iPhone at any time. But guess what? The human mind did not have the capacity. Human mind keeps on building on what it already knows. Build a little, build a little, build a little, build a little. Past physicists are there, past scientists are there, electronic engineers are there, psychologists are there. All of them come together, study, develop, and then a smartphone is developed. If I use the word smartphone and all, my parents won't understand that language. They don't even understand this language. Smartphone means what? And you have to show them this phone and say, this phone is called smartphone. You tell them like that. Why it is smart and all, they don't understand. So, technology is, new things are possible, but our Shastram says knowledge always is there for you to discover. Nobody can claim authorship to knowledge. Very different from what goes on out there, because patenting is happening. Every technology is patented. Every time something new, some new medicine is developed in the lab, it's immediately patented. So the company can make some money out of it for 10 years before it becomes patent runs out. All these things are there. That's fine. Patenting can be done, no problem with that. But I'm telling you that knowledge is always there. The potential is there. That's our understanding. And so the Veda says the Veda is apaurushayam, not authored by a human being. This is just an amazing concept it is. And apaurushayam. Paurushayam means born of a human being. Veda is apaurushayam. All these mantras that is there in the Vedas is apaurushayam, not authored by a human being. But then didn't our rishis figure this out? Yeah. So every mantra is associated with a rishi. Rishi Vashishta, Vishwamitra, Atreya, Bhrigu, all these things are there. But then if you ask the rishis, did you author this? You know what they say? They say, no, we did not author it. We saw it. We saw it. It came to us. Like if you ask the television, did you produce all these programs? So many channels you're showing. Hey, television, amazing. You are such an amazing thing. What will the television say? No, I'm happy that you're happy with me. But then guess what? I'm only receiving all the signals from somewhere. I'm just showing it to you, that's all. And so this Rishi, our Swami Paramarthananda, he says, Risivati iti Rishi. They are called Rishis because they receive, it seems. That's his joke. So, like that, these rishis are called not mantra kartaraha. They are not creators of the mantras. They are called mantra drashtaraha. Mantra drashta means seers of the mantra. Just came to them and they said it. Okay. So this is the authorship of Vedas. Is not authored by anybody or any one rishi or many rishis. Collective authorship, no such thing. Not like a conference publication where so many authors are there. One editor will be there. But here we have one editor because there's so much knowledge. Then one person took on the role of editorship. That person's name is called, I think you can guess, Veda Vyasa. So, did Veda Vyasa author the Vedas? The answer is no, he did not author the Vedas. He's the editor of the Vedas. Then he mapped it all out. And then he said, you know what, this is too much. Those days in Satya Yuga, they could handle all this. But now it's all Kali Yuga, and we need to. Kali Yuga is going to come. And so I need to help these people um, uh, study this and teach it, propagate it, etc. So he divided all these Vedas into four. And there came the Chatur Veda. Four Vedas. That's the history of this Chatur Vedas. Okay. Anyway, now, what do the Vedas contain? The Vedas are meant to satisfy our Purusharthas. What are our Purusharthas? Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So it has to have whatever it has, it must be a means to satisfy my Purusharthas. That much is clear. Otherwise, Vedas are useless. It simply cannot say things for the sake of saying. It is a deliberate. Vedas is a deliberate part of the creation. Okay. Sahayajna praja srishtva purovacha praja pratihi, like that Krishna says. So all these yajnas, mantras, rituals, pujas, parayanadi, everything, it's all there in the Vedas. So content-wise, Vedas is broken into two categories. The first category is called Karma Kanda. Second category is called Jnana Kanda. Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda. What is the difference? Karma Kanda has to do with Dharma, Artha, and Kama. Those three things, Purusharthas, we talked about. Dharma, Artha, Kama. And Jnana Kanda has to do with Moksha. For now, for our understanding, I'm telling you this. So, Putra Kamaschinvita. I want children. It's a need. Human being has that need. And so I want children. Children is easy to get, we think, until you meet the person who don't have children. The couple does not have children. I got a call last year. Somebody said, can you do something? Means, can you help us adopt a child? That's what they were asking. From a not well-to-do family. So I was doing some research on how to adopt children and all that. And so that was a different thing. So it doesn't seem to be easy to have children for some people. So, or easy to have children, but my children should be healthy. They must be successful in life. They must be happy. They must lead happy lives. If they are not happy, how can I be happy? So for all that, there are prescribed rituals. Of course, we already know one famous ritual in the Vedas called Putra Kameshti. Putra Kameshti Yaga. So those of us who know the Ramayana know this very well. So Rama himself was born of Putra Kameshti Yaga. Yashrasha did not have children, despite having three wives. Okay, no children. So therefore, he chose to do this Putra Kameshti, and he had the four children. We know that story very well. So Putra Kamas Chinvita, I want children. Then what? Vitta Kamas Chinvita means if you want wealth, you can earn money through all the things you know and all the things you can learn. But if you want more, Or if you want that money to make you happy, because money, having money is one thing, and make the money should make me happy is another thing. Correct? So then Veda says, okay, not bad. You are quite smart. Okay, you can do all these rituals and then seek the blessings of our Pitris and seek the blessings of Indradi, etc. So that whatever you earn, let it come smoothly, let it make you happy. Because if I'm not happy with the wealth I have now, chances are highly likely that I won't be happy with the wealth I will get later also. Correct? Nothing wrong in acquiring wealth. Nothing wrong at all. Vedas doesn't say it is wrong. It's all. You can have whatever amount of wealth you. Anyway, this our Nachiketa's father in Kathopanishad is going to do just that. We'll come to that. Okay. He's going to do a ritual for greater Aishwaryam, greater wealth, okay, greater fame, etc. Okay, so the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas is going to help me get my Artha, Kama, and Dharma. If I'm pushed to a corner, what will I do? I will lie. Or I will put up with the inconvenience and say I will not lie. If you don't lie, definitely you will be inconvenienced. No doubt about that. You have to put up with a lot of inconvenience. We know that. So then my prayer is what? May I be truthful. And may I get the strength to be truthful. May I get the strength to be truthful all the time, regardless of the circumstances. That is Chandra. That is all our recently also freedom fighters and all that thing. They were all truthful to the country, to the dharma, and they were ready to give up their lives. Okay, so that's how it was. So that is called dharma. Dharma, artha, kama. For all that, their karma kanda is available. Now, now what? It is moksha comes. Okay. Now, what kind of desires do we have? This human being has all kinds of desires, and well, no end to the desires we have. We want even to go to Boon. Okay, we don't know who our neighbor is. Okay, in this complex, but we want to know if human beings are living in some other planet. That's our thing. Hey, you try to have a happy society here. Okay, make that happy first. Then we will figure out about other planets and all that. That is a joke they say those days. Uh, so, what kind of desires we have? Infinite desires. Human mind, given the free will and choice, that person is able to come up with any kinds of desires. So that's why these marketing people in companies are very smart. What they do, they produce a product like this, then show it to you like this, and then some music, and then fast-moving cars, this, that, and then put something, and then suddenly they show you this bottle, and then uh, what happens? You see it 3 times, then somebody in the house is going to say, you know what? We should try that shampoo. Try that. Oh, that's it. So this is how desires, even if the desires you don't have, also we end up having. Okay, this is how desires are. Anyway, Shankaracharya says in Bhajagovindam, Balastavat Krida Saktaha. Correct? Balaha. What is it? Child also has desires. What kind of desire a child has? Krida Saktaha. Always playing from morning to night. That's it. And then suddenly it will be tired and then it will go off to sleep. Then get up. Then look up the toy and then run around, run around. This is all the child wants. Food also, only when hungry comes, has food. So, Krida Saktaha. Tarunastavat Taruni Saktaha, he says. Generally, Shankaracharya will not use these words, but here he has used it. Tarunaha, youth. The youth, the male, the young man, his only goal in life is to find a woman, it seems. That is what he's saying. Taruni. Tarunaha wants a Taruni. Okay, that is how life goes on. Then what? Vriddaha. Then he's going to talk about the old person, what kind of desires he has. Which means in between you have to fill up the blanks. Real estate, stocks, this, that, whatever, fame, standing for elections, this, that, everything comes. Then Vriddaha, what happens? Old man. Vriddastavat Chinta Saktaha, it seems. Doesn't have desires, but his desires are all converted into Chinta. Means what? What happened? My sons, they don't call me at all. They're all gone somewhere. And if I call, he says they're busy. He's not picking up the phone. And those days, at least, they used to write letters. These days, no letters. And WhatsApp, and then, hi, dad, how are you? And then that's it, over. And what about telephone? Nothing. They don't call. They don't listen to me. And this, that, endless. So he says, Vriddha means chinta. That is what he's saying. Shankaracharya is saying. So desires are many. Desires are many. uh, and it constantly changes also. And so, for all of that, Vedas is available. But then something is lacking. Riddhaschava chinta sakta. Hey, after the end of my life, I'm still worrying. If I say nobody wants to worry, nobody wants to worry. Worry means unhappy. I'm unhappy. After all these years of working and having a great family, Guruji, I'm still not happy. Ah, this is when what happens? Dharma Artha Kama did not keep you happy. That can be a problem. That can be a problem. That is the main problem. That is why these days in India, they say psychology is a good field. You know why? Because there is a demand for psychologists. Demand. So if somebody says what field I should study, and you can tell them you can study psychology, it's a good field. Sometimes I do that because I can even give a little bit of advice also periodically if they ask. And so psychology, many students are studying psychology, and there is always a demand. There is always a market for that. And psychologists, see, they say this companies, CEOs, and all that, like Bill Gates or Satya Nadella or Jeff Bezos or our Indian CEOs, anybody you pick, they all have a psychologist on call. On call means Bill Gates wants to talk to a psychologist, means readily available he comes. But why should Bill Gates talk to psychologists? He has everything. Jeff Bezos, we have made Jeff Bezos so rich, he doesn't even know how many zeros are there in his bank account. Okay, that's so rich he is. He must be happy. No, psychologist is needed. Jack, I don't feel. What happened? I'm not able to sleep properly in the night. Then the Jack is a psychologist. Talking to Jeff Bezos. He is one of the richest people in this whole world. And then psychologist says, Jeff, you have a killer instinct. You have a killer instinct. Killer instinct means what? You know how to go out there and get everything. And that killer's instinct, it has a side effect. And the side effect is it kills your sleep also. You're very constantly thinking about what is the next company you have to buy. All this is what you're thinking. And your mind is racing. But then, Jack, I need to have that killer instinct. Otherwise, I cannot succeed in this life. This is a conversation between the psychologists and these people. And so what happened in the process? Neither Jeff Bezos benefits, nor the psychologist is able to help Jeff Bezos because that's his job. But one thing is that Jeff feels good that he's spoken to a psychologist, he aired his views. We have to talk to some people. And we also, Vedantins also talk to people. And our way of talking is teaching in forums like this. That's our way of releasing our this thing. So anyway, Jeff Bezos, he's so happy. And psychologist is also happy, he gets his share. Uh, Double the share he gets. So he's also happy. So this psychologist is there. Why? I mean, there is something lacking. Our Puja Swami tells a joke. Not a joke actually. He said, once somebody came and wanted to meet Swamiji. And Swamiji, of course, there is one good thing about Swami Dayanandaji was nobody could say no to him. You just have to wait, that's all. No gatekeeper. Gatekeeper will say, okay, I'll inform you, Swamiji, that two of people are waiting. That's all. And Swamiji might say, okay, come tomorrow, or he will call. So this man came and introduced himself, it seems. He says, I am so and so, and I'm a successful marriage counselor. I am a successful marriage counselor. Okay, good. I have two children, whatever it's. So, see, generally when we go to a sannyasi, Swamiji can teach Vedanta extremely well. He's one of the greatest teachers of Vedanta. Nobody comes and says, Swamiji, I've come here to learn Vedanta from you. What do you want, or marriage counselor? My marriage is not working out. My marriage is not working out. I am a successful marriage counselor, but my marriage is not working out. Swamiji says, this is the problem. This is the problem. And so, why? Because this fellow has been listening to our people all day. Everybody pays him cash. Now he's used to, what is he used to? He's used to listening to people who pay him cash. But the wife does not pay him cash. So Swamiji told him, it seems, I'll tell you, I have an idea. Go and charge your wife some $100 per hour, or 100 whatever rupees per hour. Then it will work out. And it seems this guy got it. He said, no, I'm not really spending time with my family. That's what it is. Okay. That's it. So this is how our life is. Okay. And and in our Shastra, there is a very famous story of Narada. Narada. All of us know Narada. Anybody who's been listening to stories of our Puranas know Narada, and we all love Narada. Because those days we used to watch these movies and all. In movies, they always show Narada coming with some kind of a stringed instrument. And Narayana, 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 Narayana. Like that he will come. And then Shiva is there in the Himalayas, and Parvati is there, and Skanda and Ganesha are there, and dance is going on, something is going on. Kailas. And Narayana, Narayana. And then Shiva says, what now? What now? Means what mischief are you up to now? That is the meaning of what now. No, don't get upset, Shiva. Just because I said Narayana, you're Narayana and you are no different. I know that. You also know that. And so don't get upset. Okay, what's up? So like this, Narayana used to go all over without visa. He's the only individual in the whole world who went places without visa. And so this Narada talks to Sanat Kumara. There is a dialogue. Sanat Kumara, one rishi, and Narada talks to him. The dialogue goes like this. He says, please teach me. Narada says, please teach me. So then our Sanat Kumara says, you are already a knowledgeable person. Okay, you tell me what all you know, then I will, based on that, I will teach. And Narada gives a list. Rigvedo Bhagavo Adhyemi is what, hey Bhagavan, hey Sanat Kumara, Aham Rigvedam Adhyemi. I know Rigveda, entire Rigveda, because Rigveda is the first Veda, they say, and Rigveda, it's the first. I know Rigveda. Then what? Yajurvedam, Samavedam, Atharvanam, Chaturtham. I know all the four Vedas. I am a Chaturvedi. Chaturvedi. Ekavedi, Bedi. The Bedis are Ekavedis. Okay. And then what? Dvivedi, Trivedi, Chaturvedi. I am a Chaturvedi. Then what? Itihasa Puranam Panchamam. By the way, also I know the Itihasas, which is Ramayana and Mahabharata, top to bottom, bottom to top. I can chant and I can tell it also. And without leaving a single detail, I know everything. Puranam, 18 Puranas. Vyasa had so much time, he wrote all these things. Vast literature. I know all of them. Okay, Itihasa Puranam. Then he gives a further list. And he says, um, Deva Vidyam, Brahma Vidyam, Bhuta Vidyam, Kshatra Vidyam, Nakshatra Vidyam, Sarpa Deva Jana Vidyam. Like this, he gives a list. He gives a big list. Kshatra Vidya. Kshatra means king. I know kingship means what? I know governance. I know how to govern a city. I know how to govern a state. I know how to govern a country. I know how to govern the entire earth. And I know how to govern Devalokas also. That science I know. Then what? Nakshatra Vidya, astrology, astronomy, whatever ology you call about the celestial objects. I know all of that. I know all of that. Then Bhuta Vidyam, Deva Vidyam. I know all about how to reach various lokas, etc. How to gain punyam papam. Everything I know. Okay. Then he says, I know all these things. Then he says, Shrutaha evaham. But I've heard that Tarati Shokam Atmavit, the one who knows the Atma, crosses over sorrow. Shokam, Tarati, Atmavit. Atmavit means what? One who knows the one who knows the Atma crosses over sorrow. But why should Narada say this? Bhagavo, Shochami. I am grieving, he says. Narada says, I know so much and I am grieving. And why am I grieving? That also Narada says. He says, Mantravideva Hamasmi. I am a mantravid. I know all the mantras from top to bottom and bottom to top. I can repeat anything at any place at any time. Mantravidevasmi. I am a mantravid alone. Then what? Natu Atmavid. I am not an Atmavid. I don't know Atma. That Atma which is my essential nature, that I don't know. Therefore I am grieving. Shochami Bhagavo. So what should I do then? What should you do? Hey Sanat Kumara. Shokasya param tarayatu. And help me cross over this ocean of samsara, ocean of sorrow. Narada is saying. Can you believe this? As when I first heard this, I could not believe it. I said, this character whom we love so much, how could Narada be sad? We couldn't even imagine. But our Chandogya Upanishad says all these things. And so, if Narada can be sad, what about Narada also is a mortal, okay? What about ordinary mortals like us, who don't even know what the Vedas is properly? So it's very clear that there is something that I don't have and I don't seem to have. Periodically, I'm happy and unhappy, happy and happy. Krishna is going to say in Bhagavad Gita, Janma is there, then what? Mrityu will come. Janma, Mrityu. Mrityu is there, waiting to come. Then I say, no, I'm only 10 years old. Mrityu and all is far away. I don't have to worry about death and all. Okay. Janma, Mrityu. Then Jara will come before Mrityu. There is something called old age which will come before Mrityu. Are you afraid of that? No, old age also is. I told you, no, I'm only 10 years old. Did you hear what I said? Yeah, okay, fine. Old age is far away. Jara, Vyadhi. How about Vyadhi? Disease can come to anybody at any time. Oh, disease, Vyadhi. Do you want Vyadhi? No, I don't want Vyadhi. Okay, but Vyadhi is there waiting. Waiting when everybody is leading a great life, pandemic. Some virus, some somewhere created in some country, large country nearby, near India, they say, and the virus pandemic. And so just one microscopic object is just shaken the whole world. Vyadhi. Then Vyadhi also, oh, I'm doing yoga every day, pranayama every day, I'm standing on my head, standing on my toes and all. If you say, good, that's needed. Nobody, it's very good for you. But then Dukkham is there. Dukkham. Anybody can be sad at any time. One change of weather is enough for me to become sad. So this sadness is a problem. That's why you got all these institutions which are selling tips and techniques and all that. And there are a lot of people waiting, standing in line to get those things. Why? I need a little bit peace of mind. Peace of mind, though, that's all I want. Peace of mind. So that peace of mind is there. Vedanta, what it does is that desire for peace of mind is formalized as a beautiful subject, an important subject, and therefore as a practical subject. Some people say Vedanta is theory. No, Vedanta is not theory because it addresses that fundamental human need and need for adequacy, need for contentment. Okay, Swami uses the word adequacy. I'm adequate now, but then I'm not adequate again. So that fundamental problem is addressed. And so it's not that we are the only ones seeking that. The humanity has been seeking for a long time. So that is the That is the background. And so that's what leads us to what is called Vedanta. Anta, Vedanam Antaha. So generally, the Upanishads are referred to as Vedanta, and these Upanishads are part of the Vedas. And in a location perspective, where does it appear? Generally, it appears after the Karma Kanda, towards the end of the Vedas. Okay, sometimes in the middle and all it appears, but it is generally studied at the end and appears at the end also. Therefore, that particular section called Upanishads is called as Vedanta. Vedanta. And here, of course, we are talking about Advaita Vedanta, Vishishtadvaita Vedanta, Dvaita Vedanta. They are also called Vedantas. Okay, Vedanta doesn't mean Advaita Vedanta only. But here, we start referring to Vedanta, and here, of course, Advaita Academy is invited us. So our topic is Advaita Vedanta. So that brings us to what is called Upanishad. Then what about Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, I told you long ago, Shruti. Vedas are called Shruti. There is another group of texts called Smriti, which are not part of the Vedas, which are authored by a human being. Bhagavad Gita also, even though authored by Veda Vyasa, who is a Maharshi, is not part of the Vedas. It is part of this Mahabharata. It is a Grantha authored by Veda Vyasa, written by Ganesha, and that is called as Smriti. Smriti, Smriti. Smr, Mr, remember, memory. You get that root, Mr, that Mr, recalled from the mind, memory, from memory. That's called Smriti. And so, anybody, if you have written any books, then that book is called Smriti. It can be a novel, it can be a scientific publication, it can be anything. And it's called Smriti. Bhagavad Gita also is Smriti. But Bhagavad Gita has the same message as the Upanishads, and therefore Bhagavad Gita is considered equal to Veda, and therefore also called as Panchamo Veda. Panchamo Veda. Okay. So that Vedanta. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita also is called Vedanta. And any text written by anybody this teaching or unfolding this Advaita Vedanta is also called Vedanta. Okay. Like, for example, for us, Shankaracharya's texts, numerous are there. And Dakshinamurti Stotram, our this coordinator of this program, Nitin Sridhar, has written a book on Dakshinamurti Stotram. Nice book he has written, which is only about 8 shlokas, and Palashruti 9 shloka is there. And so that's written by Shankaracharya. And like this, we have many texts. They're also Smriti, and they're also teaching the same of Vedanta. So therefore, if you ask me now, Vedanta, is it for me now in my stage of life? I'm still only 35. Should I study Vedanta? If you ask, I will tell you, you decide. Is this what I told you just now? Is it relevant to you or not? Is this seeking of Ananda? Is it relevant to you or not? It's going to be relevant for every human being throughout their life. We are just not given the right direction. These days, this Indian government, national education policy. We've always had a national education policy, and these days they are emphasizing, they say, Sanskrit is one of the oldest languages, and it's time we start teaching this in our schools and colleges. Oh, really? Finally, after so many years, 75 years, okay? And then they say, Indian philosophical systems. Ah, nice to hear that. I never learned about Shankaracharya in my school or college. I never learned about Bhagavad Gita. Nothing. Zero means zero. Some Greek philosophers and all they talked about. And so now it's all coming. It's all coming. Coming where? To the college and school curriculum. They are going to get exposed to it. These days, schools and colleges are inviting such scholars to come and lecture to the to those students. Okay. So anyway, so therefore, what is it? Is it relevant for me if somebody asks? My answer is simple. Yeah, it's relevant. To what extent you should study, what you should study, and all, it's based on where you are. And so for that, people who know this, people who know the topic will advise, will give the right advice and right teaching. Okay. Introduction versus intermediate versus advanced, all these things are there. So it's a big ocean like anything else. Okay. So this is Vedanta. Okay, Vedanta is going to talk about what? It's going to talk about this fundamental problem of a human being. What is the fundamental problem? This dharma, artha, and kama does not seem to satisfy me. And I think tomorrow is a better day, tomorrow is a better day, tomorrow is a better day. And I'm 60 years old, 65 years old. And Shastram already says, hey, this is all anityam. These are all impermanent, temporary. That's why you have to constantly seek them. And they never make you permanently happy. But we want to be permanently happy. That's all. If somebody asks, Swamiji would say, do you want to be happy in the morning or in the evening? What kind of question are you asking, Guruji? It's not fair. Don't make fun of us like that. Okay, just because you are a teacher, you can't make fun of us like that. Do you want to be happy at home or outside home? It's like this Adi Shankaracharya's parents, they were doing tapas to get a child. They did not have a child. And Shiva appeared to Aryamba and Shivaguru. And Shiva asked this, do you want a child that lives long, or do you want to have a child that's very intelligent, that's going to guide humanity, entire humanity? Do you want which kind of child? If you want the long-lived child, it's an average child. Do you want this one? Then the intelligent child is going to be short-lived. What do you want? What kind of what a what a sankata it is for a parent, to ask this kind of question. But anyway, thanks to Haryamba and Shivaguru, we have Shankaracharya for us, and he lived such a only 32 years, etc. Right? So this kind of questions, when do you want to be happy and all, is ridiculous, because I want peace of mind all the time. I want to be contented all the time. If I'm working and I'm happy, all the better. All the better. How difficult it is to get the right job and be happy doing that job. You must have the right employer. You must have the right salary and benefits. You must have the right manager. Company may be good, but manager may be very poor. Okay. You must have, what do you call it? Advancement opportunities. See, it's been a while since I left my job, so I'm trying to look for the right words here. They say Microsoft is a good company. Okay, so you see an article, 5 great things about Microsoft and 5 not so good things about Microsoft. You got a job in Microsoft, so you're happy. Multinational company, etc. India, you can work abroad, you can work anywhere, you can work. 110,000 employees are there in Microsoft. Great, now you're happy. Then after 2 years, I look around and say, what happened to you, my dear friend? Work hours are too long. Work hours are too long. Then what happened? Now what? Are you happy or are you sad? What about salary and all? Salary and all is good. Yeah. So good means something else is coming along with it, like two sides of a coin. So never can I say I I have everything I want. Nobody can say that. Not possible, it seems. And so and so so it's about an hour since we started. This is the introduction. Okay. And that's how we get into this topic called Vedanta. And so I don't want anybody to think that it's some theory. It requires some calmness of mind to follow all this, right? Obviously. And that's why only then this topic will go, because this topic will not get you can't put this in your resume. You can't say I'm studying Bhagavad Gita twice a week and all, Vedanta Acharya and all. If you put, what will happen, it may backfire also. It may backfire. So please don't put this, I attended Indika Moksha talk on Advaita Vedanta series and all. You be careful before putting it in your resume, because we don't know how people are going to look at this. One of my bosses, who was a vice president of this large company, said, I told him, what are you interested in? I'm interested in psychology and Vedanta. Then he suddenly turned to all his managers, oh, we have to be careful with this man. That's what he said. Means he's saying, oh, that means we will not. I hope he doesn't argue with me much. And so I think maybe that's a benefit of studying Vedanta. But anyway, Vedanta is meant for the individual. Nobody in the world is going to talk about this topic except a sannyasi, except somebody who's given up everything, who understood what is what, and has gone through the same process, has gone through the same trials and tribulations, and has seen it all, and then has studied. Of course, in our Shastram, there is a lot to study also. Simply, you can't talk about it. Simply talking is called motivational talks. Sometimes I'm invited to talk on this. 1 hour, you just come talk about this. Then I put together something and I say something and I walk away from there. Some insights we give. Nothing wrong with that. We do that. But Vedanta is in-depth study is required. And why? Because it's for me only. It's for me, my family, my humanity. This Shastram belongs to me. It is my rishis who produced all this. Therefore, if I don't study this, who is going to study it? We all have to study it. And it's practical. Practical not from that job's resume perspective, but practical because it makes me ready to face life, makes me understand life, makes me understand myself, makes me understand more than myself. What? Understand Ishvara, Bhagavan, God. Only a Vedantin can say, I understood God. Okay? That's the beauty of this Advaita Vedanta. Okay? So if you have any questions, you please send it to our team here, and so we can definitely address those questions. So they said what 1 hour 45 minutes is what I should talk, and after that 15 minutes for Q&A. Okay. With that introduction, which helps us see where Vedanta fits in the scheme of things, why Vedanta is important. Vedanta does not talk about dharma, artha, and kama. Vedanta's topic is moksha. Moksha means what now? If you ask, one conclusion is like this. Oh, I cannot be happy really in this world. Humanity, this earth can only offer so much. Even though I've been to all these places, I've been to America, I've been to all these vacations places, Bali and this and that. I've been to all these places, I've seen all these places. Still, I am not happy. I think this earth very limited. I need something more than earth. Yes, that place is called Swarga. That place is called heaven. Therefore, heaven becomes very attractive. Vedas talks about Swargaloka. In fact, if there was any one Grantha that talked about heaven first, that must be the Vedas. Because Vedas is the oldest corpus. They don't even know when it was created. They try to put some dates. All these Western scholars, they like to put dates for all these things. And then they are now getting into trouble. So, that Swarga talked about by the then suddenly the desire for going to Swarga arises. And there are enough people talking about Swarga. So going to Swarga is called Moksha. That is a commonly understood definition. Next life will not be there. Why? Because I will go to Vaikuntha. And who's there in Vaikuntha? Vishnu, Sakshat Vishnu. Kshiro Dhanmat Pradeshe Shuchimani Vilasat Saikate Moktikanam. So that Chatur, that one who is sleeping on that serpent, that man I will see finally. And then finally, Prapatti, I have become one with Vishnu and I will live happily ever after. This is one idea. This is one idea. What Advaita Vedanta says is any action, karma, action is called karma, will produce a result called karma phalam. Just as scientists do, action has a result. Equal and opposite part, we'll forget it. Action has a result. But then action is finite by definition. By definition, any action you do is finite. Even if you're talking about a huge company that is doing so much and impacting the lives of so many people, that impact also is finite. Karma is finite. Karma phalam also is going to be finite. Finite. Finite means anityam. Anityam means impermanent. Then what about going to heaven? Well, going to heaven, you have to gain a lot of punyam, which you are gaining right now. Good. And then you do gain a lot of punyam. Punyam is to go to heaven. I go to heaven. Going is an action. And what made me go to heaven also is a result of actions. And then I reach a place. I reach a place. And that reaching a place means finite. Place itself is finite, correct? Place is finite. And so when I go there, I enter into that place. Entering is finite. Entering is a starting point in the timeline. The minute you say there is a timeline, I am born in heaven. And the law is Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvo janma mritasya cha. That is the law. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter. Dhruvaha, certain. What is certain? For Jatasya, for that which is born, Mrityu is certain. And that which dies, birth is certain. This is what Krishna just says like that in half a line and walks away. And that half a line is so important for us to understand that all these this going, coming, etc., going to a place and I am ever going to be happy ever after. It won't work. It will not work. Okay. So going to any particular country and all, it's okay to go to any country to make a living. You can make a comfortable living if you go to some countries. That is fine. Less corruption will be there. That is fine. But this so-called nitya vastu that I want to be, not possible. Not possible at all. And so, therefore, even in America, if you go, a lot of Christians come to this Vedanta. When they hear Vedanta, suddenly they say, there's something in it for me. Why? Because it's going to heaven and being with God, etc. It doesn't cut it. It doesn't cut it. And therefore, that takes us to Advaita Vedanta. And so, in order to study Advaita Vedanta, we study various texts. And the main text in vogue today is Bhagavad Gita. Because it's accessible to everybody and it is not mantra based. Okay, mantra means what is the difference between a mantra and a shloka? That which is in the Veda is called a mantra. That which is not in the Veda is called a shloka. Okay, that's how we look at it. And so if you say Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatame Sada, it's called a shloka. You call it a mantra, but it formally, technically, mantra means what is in a Veda. Om. So our organizer chanted Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu from the Veda. We'll have swara in it. Swara Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahabhiryam Karavavahai. So that swara is there in these mantras. Typical. That's one way to identify a mantra. Okay. So, Bhagavad Gita is a popular text. Children are also made to chant, and many of them chant very well. And so, introducing the Bhagavad Gita to children is a great way. And then, as we grow up, of course, we study the Bhagavad Gita more easily accessible. It is Smriti, and since our parents and others also have studied it, readily accessible. Now, Upanishads is part of the Veda. Upanishads are cryptic. Because these kinds of introductions Upanishad won't give. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, all these things Upanishad will not talk about. Bhagavad Gita, little vistar, 18 chapters are there, very long text, 700 and plus verses are there in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so it gives us who are studying Bhagavad Gita the freedom, the leisure to understand all the aspects. We have so many questions, and so everything slowly gets answered in those 18 chapters. Upanishads already assumes that you know the Bhagavad Gita, you studied it. All this Dharma Artha Kamandal, you don't need any introduction. You're straight away asking the question. Okay? Like Nachiketa is going to ask the question. Nachiketa doesn't ask about Dharma, Artha and Kama. In fact, he's going to reject all of that. We're going to see that beautiful story. Okay? And he's going to ask the question straight away. Tell me about Atma. That's it. God is going to ask. So Upanishads therefore is concentrated, jumps right into the topic, unlike the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita also gets into the topic but goes out Karma Yoga, then Bhakti Yoga, like that it covers various topics which we all need. We all need. Because not it makes us ready for this jnanam, makes us ready. And so Bhagavad Gita is a good text. And that's why I said here the title is Introduction to Vedanta through the Kathopanishad. Because I still wanted it to be an introduction only. Because in any case, Kathopanishad has 120 mantras. We're not going to cover 120 mantras in 4 sessions. Even though these sessions are pretty long. 2 hours. Our classes are all 1 hour at least. People are, then they are just yawning and yawning. Some people say, my classes are very good. I figured out why they say my classes are good. You know why they say that? Because these classes are so nice and then they are able to doze off nicely. And then when they doze off, that sleep that they could not get in the night, they're getting here. That means I must be a genius, correct? So therefore, they love me for that. Jayakumarji's classes are very motivating. When it is not motivating, it is very soporific. It gives me sleep. Both ways is very good. And so that's how we become popular, I think. Anyway, this 2 hours, I hope all of you can put up with me for 1 hour, 45 minutes. After that, you're welcome to ask me questions. So, we will get into the story of Kathopanishad, okay? It starts with a beautiful story. And the way to study Upanishads is not simply, okay, so for example, I'm going to show you this. I have a printout of the Upanishad, okay? I'm looking at all, these are just a series of slokas from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just goes like this. That's all it is. With some notes I've made on this paper, okay? Simply reading this mantra like this, you can't understand. Even the person who knows Sanskrit cannot understand. Why? Because these are all, some of these words are cryptic and it requires somebody to explain to us what these things are. And therefore, we come to what is called Adi Shankaracharya, who has written a commentary of the Kathopanishad, just like he has written a commentary of the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita shlokas are also like that. Don't think they're all very easy and then I'll just study some Sanskrit. Somebody, we are teaching, we're conducting so many Sanskrit classes. And I ask them, why do you want to study this? Then almost everybody says, I want to study Bhagavad Gita. I want to study the Upanishad. The Shastram is there, and without knowing Sanskrit, it's so difficult to study all this. Therefore, I've signed up for your Sanskrit course. That's what they say, which is correct. Which is what I expect them to say. And then, even after studying all that Sanskrit for so many years, Bhagavad Gita, you can't. It's not really accessible unless we read Shankaracharya's Bhashya. But then studying Shankaracharya's Bhashyam requires us to learn even more Sanskrit than what one has already learned. And so that only a few people can do. And then those few people can come out and teach the Bhagavad Gita based on the Bhashya. So that is how when I attended the ashram, the courses, the years I spent in the ashram and before going to the ashram, that is what I studied. I studied what? Bhagavad Gita through Shankaracharya's Bhashya. Kathopanishad and other Upanishad through Shankaracharya's Bhashya. Then only we get a good grounding on it. So minimum, the teacher must have studied all these things. Everybody need not study. A teacher must have studied so that that person communicates properly and knows what a word is trying to communicate. Simply looking at a word and trying to guess what the meaning is not teaching. It's not acceptable. In our tradition, they don't accept all this. Okay. So, Shankaracharya writes a Bhashyam to this. We're not going to study the Bhashyam. No, I'm not going to teach you all that. But why I said that, when they write the Bhashyam, they compose a shloka or two as a prayer. Every author of our old texts, they compose a prayer. They're all poets, in fact. And I look at some people compose 2 pages full of a prayer before they actually start writing a comment. I just hats off to them because they are composing. It has to be proper meter. Anushtup Chanda means Anushtup Chanda. Okay, 8 times 3, 24. Okay, Ashocyan, Ashocyan, Anva, Shochastvam, Prajna, Vadamscha, Bhasha, se, Gata Suna, Gata Sunscha, Nanu Sochanti Pandita, 8 times 4 is 24. I mean, 8 times 4 is 32. Okay, so exactly it must form like that. Otherwise, it's prose. If it doesn't fall like that. And so, this is what they do. So, anyway, Shakracharya wrote what we call as Mangala Charanam. Okay, so I'm going to chant the Mangala Charanam, and if you know it, you can chant along with me. And our organization, see, normally when we teach all these things, our students will repeat after us. Yeah, I'll say something. For example, I'll say Om Namo Bhagavate. Then everybody will repeat Om Namo Bhagavate. But today, what I was advised is that since this is not to be viewed as a typical class, it's a lecture, public lecture. And so the advice I was given is that I'll just chant it and you can just listen to it. And if you have the text, I mean, our one of my students has prepared the text with both the Sanskrit and English. If you want, you let the organizer know, and then we'll send it out to you. So anyway, this Mangalacharanam goes like this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahmavidyaa Charyaya Nachiketa cha. That is a prayer Shankaracharya writes before entering into this Kathopanishad to write a commentary. So, as this is a tradition, so we have done that. And the prayer is what? What is the prayer to? Om Namo Bhagavate, to Bhagavan, Ishvara, Paramatma, and who? Vaivasvataya, Vaivasvataya, the son of the son, S-O-N, of son, S-U-N, Vivaswan. Okay, the son of the sun. Who is the son of sun? Yama Dharmaraja, correct, is the son of Surya Devata. Yama Devata is the son of Surya Devata. To that Vivaswan, who is also called what? Mrityave. Mrityu is Mrityu. And Mrityave, unto that Mrityu, um, Bhagavate Vaivasvataya, Mrityave, and then Brahmavidyaa Charyaya. Who is used this Yama? Is come to take my life or what? No, in this context, he is a Brahmavidya Acharya. He is a teacher of Brahmavidya. Therefore, I worship that. I invoke that Brahmavidya Acharyatvam in that Mrityu. Brahmavidya Acharya, yeah. Then what? Nachiketa cha. Also to Nachiketas, this prayer. Shakracharya's prayer is to Nachiketas. Why? Because Nachiketas has this boy, even though boy, he's got it all. He's got it all. Therefore, he is my guru, in fact. Therefore, Yama is my guru, and Nachiketa is my guru, and therefore this prayer is for both of them. And our sessions always start with a prayer. Okay, this our Sri Hari started with a prayer. Okay, Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu. Very popular prarthana it is, everywhere they chant. The meaning is this. Sahana Vavatu. Now Avatu. Now means both of us. May you protect both of us. Both of us. Both of us means what? Husband, wife? No, no, not that both of us. This is may you protect the teacher and the student. Why should the teacher and student be protected? Because that protective environment is needed for this communication to happen. Okay. Sahana Vavatu. Saha now bhunaktu. May you give all the necessary things that are needed for this Brahmavidya to take place. Brahmavidya is subtle. Yamadharma is going to say this is a very subtle subject. He's going to say that. Subtle, not difficult, but subtle. And because the immediate benefit is not clear. If the immediate, we're all matlabi people, matlab wale hain hum. And therefore some benefit must be there. Otherwise I won't pursue. Therefore we don't come to this subject. Therefore, Sahano Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu, etc. So let our study be brilliant. Tejasvi bhavatu avadhitam. This study, let it be brilliant. And that means what? Then let my mind not be distracted. So many things are there to be done. Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. Peak time to do things. No office. No office means what? People are just snoozing off or what? No. Everybody is busy. And busy means so many pending tasks are there. And I can't study this Brahmavidyaa when I have so many things in my mind. Therefore, Bhunaktu, make sure, give me the strength to sit for 1 hour, 2 hours. Indika has made it more difficult. Okay. But still, therefore, even more prayer we have to do. Our prayer must be doubly stronger. And so, Ma vidvishavahai. May we not unnecessarily argue with each other. May we respect each other. May the student respect the teacher. May the teacher respect the student. If the teacher does not respect the student, then what will happen? Gone. Communication will not take place. What is the use of sitting here? At least in these online Zoom sessions, people can just come and then people can just go off, log off, and teacher won't know what is happening. And if the teacher is not alert, there's no chance. Everybody is coming and going, and this fellow is happily talking, and we don't know what really is happening. Who is benefiting from this? We don't know. So, ma vidvishavahe. May we respect each other and because questions have to be clarified. And this is a topic to be understood, not simply to be believed. स्वर्ग है, स्वर्ग जाना है हमको, पुण्य प्राप्त करना है, पाप नहीं करो, पाप कर्मा नहीं करो. This is all good, understood, over. There's nothing to be explained here. Vishnu है वहां पर, वो है, then Krishna है Govardhan Giridhari, then we are going to this Bhulok, what is this? Golok, Vrindavan. Nice to hear all these stories. It's all stories to be believed. And nice to hear, good also, nothing wrong. Punyam we get from that. But this Vedanta is not going to be like that. Not going to be like that. Some people say it's dry. Many people say it's dry. And so it's communicating this cannot be done by everybody. I've been watching Puja Swamiji for 30 years. I've been watching him, 25, 30 years now. Okay. One thing I am just, of course, subject matter is important. But why do people say he's a Swami that all over the world they respect him? Because that ability to communicate this in a language that everybody can understand without diluting the subject matter. Just because everybody should understand, I dilute karo. No, can't dilute it. It is what it is. That's it. Mathematics is algebra is algebra. You can't dilute it. You can give various types of examples so that the child sitting in the class, every child in the class can understand. What is 2 plus 3? Every child should raise their hand and say 5. Then that teacher can be happy. So that is how it works here. And so the prayer, Mangalacharanam, is also important in our tradition. We chant Sahanavavatu and we also chant this Mangalacharanam when we study Kathopanishad. When we study Bhagavad Gita, we chant the Gita Dhyana. Okay, Om Pathaya Pratibodhitam, like that we chant. Okay. This now allows us to enter into Kathopanishad. Okay. Starts with a beautiful story. And this story is such a beautiful story that even we tell this to our children also. In the children's classes, I've talked to them about Kathopanishad. May not get into a lot of details into the final chapters and all that, but at least give some inkling. But the story is so inspiring. They will all get ready in the final year, the annual day program and all they have. They will enact the drama of Kathopanishad. The dialogue between Yamadharma Raja and this boy. Okay. And so this Kathopanishad starts like this. Ushan havai vajashravasaha sarva veda sandadhau tasya Nachiketa nama putra asa. There was a king called Vajashravas. Okay, Vajashravas. And then Sarva Veda Sam Dadau. He gave up all his wealth. King giving up wealth. This king giving up wealth is there. This is only in Hindu Dharma you'll find it. Nowhere else you'll find. Giving up wealth, not philanthropists are there all over the world. Okay, but this man is not a philanthropist. Vajashravas. He has given up his crown. He has given up his throne, and his family is in the streets. That kind of giving up. This is okay. This is not philanthropy. This man is doing a Vishwajit yaga, big homa, which is called Vishwajit, because what he wants from all this is this man wants to become a greater king of some other place, maybe a Swarga, some other Swargaloka, a portion of Swargaloka he wants to reign over. Because this is all nothing now. A great king, just everything done, accomplished. Now this is boring stuff. This is child's play for this Vajashravas. So he wants the next big thing. Like, working in a company, you want a next challenge. This is all boring stuff. Project management of all these small projects. Give me the next project, million dollar project you should give me. Okay. Make me travel to all these places. I can do all that. But this Vajashravas is doing that. Sarva Veda Samdado. And how do you get that benefit of going to Swargaloka and becoming another big Maha-Adhipati? Only our culture. Sarva Veda Samdado. You have to give up whatever you have. You must be ready to go to the streets. King. Who will do this? Our culture is very unique. Nobody can even, the Western mind cannot even understand our culture. Cannot understand all this. That's why we have to look into all this. And so he was giving away everything. Yaga was happening and he was giving away one after the other. Horses given, elephants given up, and treasury is now open. The people are getting gold from the treasury, ornaments, this, that, everything. And people are standing in line, giving. And then crown was being held all along. Now the time to give up the crown also has come. Maybe he is not given, that the mantra doesn't say, but he's about to give everything up. Except the family, wife and children are there. They are the only people standing. Everything, all clothes and all given up. Just the clothes they are wearing. That's all. Cows are coming. Cows. That's the imagery being presented here. Cows are coming. Cows are giving to people because cow is useful. Cows. Cow's milk is there, so I don't have to buy milk. Cow also helps me in my farm and things like that, and so cow is an essential part. It's like Pashu. Pashu Putra, they used to say. Pashu. Pashu was important. In our Shastra, we always find this word Pashu. Here, Pashu, literally, if you take, then pets. This pets is a different thing. This is that Pashu wealth we're not talking about here. Pashu means workhorse. Horse will work for you. Dog will work for you. Cow will work for you. Elephant will definitely work for you. And so, that kind of Pashu wealth also given up. Cows are being given. Just imagine a line of cows waiting and imagine a line of people standing, and the Maharaja is giving the cow to doing namaskar and then touching the feet of that person because Brahmanas are all there, and then Brahmana or no Brahmana doesn't matter, touching the feet, and because blessings are needed. I am doing this for my sake, and without your blessings I cannot get that Swarga Phalam. I need blessings from every citizen of this kingdom. So he is giving. He has a son. Nachiketa Nama Putra Asa. There was a son. His son was called Nachiketa. Nachiketa. That is singular in Sanskrit. Okay, Nachiketa. This boy is a boy. He doesn't say, he says Tagamha Kumaram Santam. Upanishad says. Okay? He's a Kumara. Kumara. Kumara means young age. Young age. And that young age, one Amaradasa of this Maniprabha, Amaradasa says, Pancha Vayaskaha, 5-year-old, 5-year-old boy is watching all this. And those days, at 7 years old, they will go to Veda Panishala. They are given all this, they are initiated into the Vedas. But sometimes earlier also done, based on the maturity of the child. So this guy, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, doesn't matter. And that boy, young boy, who's definitely not a teenager, That boy is watching all this, and then Dakshinasu Niyamanasu Shraddha Vivesa So Manyata. He's looking at all these cows, and then suddenly he gets concerned. This boy is getting concerned, as though he knows what's going on and what. His concern is, look, those cows were all good, all gone. But these cows, they're all limping, they're all sick, they're all not good cows. If you give this cow to this person, Brahmana, who is supposed to help get benefit from this cow, how will he take care of the cow or will he benefit from the cow? He says, Pitodakaha Jagdatrinaha. They have no energy left in them. Pitodaka, they have drunk the last drop. They don't even have energy to drink water. Dugdha doha, the last drop of milk has been taken away from this cow. That is the cow. Nachiketa is thinking, these are the type of cows that are coming. And now suddenly, Shraddha Vivesha, suddenly his mind is concerned because he has so much Shraddha in this Shastram. He knows it's going to work out. He knows his father is going to get the phalam. But this, by giving this cow, what will happen? It's going to make the life of the recipient worse, he believes. And so, Sahovacha Pitaram. This boy approaches the father, Vajashravas, and then Vacha, Pitaram Vacha. Father. He told the father. Okay. What does he say? Tell the father. He says, look at this. Kasmai mam dasyati. Who are you going to give me to? The thinking in the boy is, look, these cows are of no use. But if you give me, at least I will be of some use. I can do some work wherever I go. I can be whoever I go to, they can make me do some work. I'll do some work. I can be of help to that person. Not these cows. Kasmai mam dasyati, he says, who are you going to give me to? Just imagine. This father is doing all these things. The yaga is going to conclude, and this boy is asking. Then Upanishad says, Dvitiyam. Second time the boy asks the same question because father is not responding. Dvitiyam. Second time again, boy asks, Kasmai mam dasyati, he pita, he pitaraha, he pitaha, he father. Didn't respond. Tritiyam, Upanishad says. Third time he said, Kasmai mam dasyati. The father thought this boy doesn't know what's going on. He's unnecessarily coming and bothering me. Father gets furious. Okay, Upanishad doesn't say father is furious, but then the next word, Vrityave tva dadamiti. I am going to give you to Mrityu. That is the word uttered. Those are the words uttered by the father. Means what? Nobody says that. No, people do say that. Even today, people do say that. That phrase is called go to hell. It's called go to hell. Go to hell means what? Get out of here. Get out of my life. Why are you bothering me with it? Ask him to go to hell. We say all these things. This hell word is there in this language. That's what he must have said in a different way. In a different way, he must have said, get out. Means die. You're better dead than alive. That is the meaning of the statement. Mrityave tva dadami. Now, this boy heard this and then he walks back. You can imagine. These are all imagination. You have to imagine all. He walks back from the yaga. He goes to a corner because father doesn't speak after that. Over. The father's dialogue is over at that point. Then he goes back. He's thinking. You know what his thought is? He's not thinking that, oh, I'm going to die. Oh, I'm going to die. No, not that. He says, Yama. He knows about Yama and all. He says, how can I be of help to Yama? Really? He takes his words very seriously. And he says, how can I be of help to Yama? He's thinking, No, okay, I know certain things. I can chant the Vedas. And Bahuna maybe Prathamaha. I'm among certain things I do. I am one of the best among all my classmates, I'm the best. I got good marks also in school and Veda Patishala. So I'm good at those things. Mathematics and all I know. And I certain things I can do at home. A Yagashala, preparation. I can do all those things. I know all the language, everything I know, what should be done where, everything I know. I can even lay the bricks of this Homakunda I can do. So if they ask me to do, I will do. So, but I don't know what Yama does in Yamaloka, that's a problem. Will I be of help to Yama? This is what the boy is thinking. Bahuna maybe Pratamaha, Bahuna maybe Madhyamaha, he says. Some things I'm not greatest, but I can do reasonably well. I'm average. Okay. Kim Swid Yamasya Kartavyam Yan Mayadya Karishyati. What is it that Yama can get out of me? Really, I'm not sure. That is what the boy is thinking. His thinking is not about what about my friends? Do I have to leave all my friends? Will it be painful to go to Yamaloka? Am I dying? Will I come back? No, no, not those questions. This is just exactly the context. Go to Yama means I'm going to have to go to Yama. Okay. Then this is the next. Then the dialogues are not there mentioned. And now there is a dialogue between Nachiketa and his father. Okay? This boy must have said, okay, I'm leaving. Okay, I'm leaving. He must have said. And the father must have said, what are you talking? No, no, you just gave me to Yama. So I now belong to Yama, not to you. What? No, no, stay back. That was just outburst. I should not have said that. This was the discussion that must have been going on. And this boy now advises his father. He says, Anupashya yatha purve pratipashya tatha pare. Hey, what happened to you, Dad? What about your purvajas, your parents, your grandparents, and their parents and all? You come from an illustrious family. How did they become illustrious? Simply by buying and selling? That's all? No, they were Satya Vaktaraha. They were all truthful people. They stuck to their word. When they say something, they stuck to it. And so that kind of people, you are progeny of that kind of people. And you are telling me that you are going to take back your word? Is that correct? Think about what about your contemporaries? All your contemporaries, your age people, your friends whom you call your friends and all that. Look at their behavior. They're also truthful, they're honest, they're hardworking, they don't lie. You live among that society. That society. Have you forgotten all that? Okay. Then sasyamiva martyah pachyate sasyamiva ajayate punaha. So I have 10 more, about 9 minutes more. And then I'll conclude. And then I'll invite questions. Okay. So he says sasyamiva martyah pachyate. This human being, martyah, mortal, sasyamiva pachyate. Means like he comes like a blade of grass and then he gets cooked. And then sasyamiva ajayate punaha. And then he will just die. He lives for some years and then he'll go away. Again, he's going to come back like a blade of grass, then suffer and then go back. And this is our life. And in this life, you are going to gain by telling lies, by going back on words. Can you look at the logic of this boy? How he's explaining all this? This is the life you are leading, which is basically a useless life. You can't really say much about this. You just come and you go away. What is the big deal? Our stones and things, they are living for thousands, millions of years, tens of millions of years. They can tell stories. They're laughing at us. They're saying, hey, 1 million years ago, I saw dinosaurs walking on the same street. You have never seen dinosaurs. That's what the stones are telling. And you are telling me that you're going back on your word. No, no, no. That's not correct. Dad, you should not do that. You're bigger than that. Okay. This is the dialogue, right? And of course, I put in some little bit masala in between. But the mantra is that Sasyamaha Matyaf Pachyate. Nachiketa is saying that. And then the scene is shifting. Scene is shifting to where our boy has gone to Yamaloka. So now our boys who are enacting this drama, I give them a challenge. You should find a nice way to show all this. Your stage and all you should find a way. The audience should look at it and say, yeah, this is Yamaloka. Correct. So this boy has gone to Yamaloka. Then what happens? He goes there, obviously uninvited. He didn't call him. He didn't send a WhatsApp message. Yama, hey, Yama, I'm going to come there. Okay. He didn't say, give no warning at all. And this guy lands up there, and guess what? Yama is not there. Yama is not there. Okay, that's not surprising because Yama is a busy guy, He's got to go all over the world and pick up all these people. People are dying everywhere. So he must be the busiest man, I think. So he is busy. He's not there. What this boy says, you know what? They say, come wash your feet and all, we'll give you some water, food and all. This guy says, no, I can't. I cannot eat food without my master's permission. Who is my master now? Yama is my master. I need to, like I used to listen to my father, now I have to listen to Yama. So let him come, whatever he says only I can do. And then one day passes, or one night passes, 2 nights pass, 3 nights pass. Yama is not to be seen. Then Yamadharmaraja walks in, and these people, his ministers, are all perturbed. And they're coming running to Yama and says, Mahodaya, Maharaj, this is nasty. This is something nasty. We are in grave danger. What grave danger? I leave you for a few days and you create all this trouble? No, we didn't create any trouble. There is a boy, Brahmana. That boy is a Brahmana because he went to Veda Patishala and all. He's a Vaidika. He's a Vedi. He could be a Chaturvedi also. He's waiting. The Chaturvedi waiting at our home, not having food. That's the problem. He has not had a drop of water. Ma understood. Understood. But these ministers are so they're trembling with fear. They're telling him more. They're telling him what? Asha pratikshe sangatam sunrutancha ishtapurte putra pashuscha. He says, if a Brahmana curses us, including you, Yama, including you, Yamadharma Raja, if he curses us, whatever we have gained all our lives, all the punyam will be gone. Putra Pashuscha Sarvan, Asha Pratiksha, all hopes, everything will be gone, just burnt to ashes. He has that kind of capacity. Okay, that is the situation we are in. Yasya Anashnan Vasati Brahmano Grihe. Brahmana, in whose house he is living without having food, without being properly taken care of. This is the lot. We will all become just a bunch of useless people leading the rest of their lives in Naraka. That's what we will become. Okay. Then Yama got the message. Okay, fine. Okay, I'll take care of this from now. He walks to Nachiketa and then he says, Tisro Ratrihi Yadavatsir Grihe me Anashnan Brahman Atithir Namasya. I'm looking at mantra number 9 of the 3 valleys. See, the Kathopanishad has 2 chapters called 2 Adhyayaha, and then each Adhyaya, each chapter has 3 sections. The section is called Valli. So there are 3 valleys in each section, each chapter, and so there are 6 valleys in total. Totaling to about 119 mantras. Okay, I'm just looking at the 9th mantra of the first valli of the first Adhyaya. Okay, in case you all are keeping that book with you. Okay. So Anashnan Brahman Atitihi Namasya Namaste Astu Bhagavan Swastime Astu Tasmat Prati Threen Varan Vrinishva. First he says, Namaste Astu Bhagavan. Hey Bhagavan, that's it. You are Bhagavan. You are no different than a manifestation of God. Therefore, Namaste Astu. Yamadharma Raja is doing Namaskara to Nachiketa, this boy. Must have washed his feet and all that. And then Namaskara. And then you know what he says? First words he says is Swasti me astu. Before Nachiketa opened his mouth, he says Swasti me astu. Me, all good things come to me, says Yamadharmaraja. Nachiketa can't say no. And so, right there, he has prevented a major problem. Okay. Then he says, Anashtan, you have not, hey Brahmana, you're a Brahmana and you are my Atiti also. Atiti Devo Bhava, I know all that. Atiti Devo Bhava, you're God. And Anashnan, without eating, Yad Avapsihi Tisro Ratrihi, you have spent 3 nights without eating, being a Brahmana, and therefore, Tasmat Prati Treen Varan Vrinishwa. I am going to give you, ask 3 boons, one for each of the days that you went hungry, okay, you were not treated properly, okay, that is how he says. And then immediately Nachiketa responds. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I've got a couple of more minutes, so I might as well continue here. So he says, first boon, second boon, third boon. That's how this story is going to go. First boon, he says, my father must be really upset. He must be guilty. He must be going through all kinds of, the mind must be playing all kinds of games. He must not be sleeping properly. I know it. This is how it is going to be, because he didn't expect me to just go away from home. That too, I didn't run away. Sometimes children run away out of their own volition. But my father sent me home at this here, and so he must be upset. More than upset, he must be agitated, and he's not sleeping. So Shanta Sankalpa Sumana Yatha Syat. Okay, Yatha Syat, just as he was happy before, I want you to make him happy now, right now. Not until I go on all that. Let him become happy. Let do something so that he can tell himself that, yeah, I think everything will look good. I think I don't need to worry about all this. Like that kind of mindset you give him. Okay, and then that's the first. Etat Trayanam Prathamam Varam. First boon I want. This is my first. Then Yama responds, okay, you got it, my dear friend. You got it. Yatha syat, yatha purastat bhavita, etc. He says. And then first boon is over. And then second boon. First mantra, the boon. Okay. Second mantra is going to start now. Okay. I mean, second mantra is the Yama giving the boon. Now, next mantra. He's going to say, Swarge lokena bhayam kinchana sti na tatratvam na jaraya bibheti. Says, look, people have heard about Swargaloka and bhayam kinchana asti. There is no fear at all. And so everybody wants to go to the Swarga. So teach me something. Teach me a ritual that will help, that I can go. See, I did forgot to tell you one. In the first boon, Nachiketa is so smart. He said he should be happy now, and when I go there, he should recognize me. And he is asked 2 or 3 boons in one boon. Okay, it is like that lady, old lady, who prayed, and then Vishnu came, Narayana came. I'm so happy with you. And then what do you want? She doesn't have any children, nothing, and she's a poor lady. She says, "Mama pautran swarnapatre kshiram uh, pibantam drashtum ichhami." He says, "I want to see my grandchildren drinking milk in a golden vessel." That is a book. That means what? In one line, she finished off. My grandchildren means what? I can't have children now. I'm old. That means you have to make me young. Then I'm going to have children. Then they are going to have grandchildren. And then like that Nachiketa has such a smart boon is asked. He said, when I see my father, he should be happy. That means he's guaranteed his return trip. Correct? His trip somehow father sent. Now return trip, who is going to send? Nachiketa guaranteed that. Then he says, when I go there, I am going to I want to teach this mantra, this yaga, through which people can go to heaven. Okay. That is the second mantra. Third onwards, we'll see when we come back in the next session. So, what we did so far is we gave an introduction to Vedanta, put the context together, then we entered and we said, Dharma, Artha, Kama is different from Moksha. Dharma, Artha, Kama cannot give Moksha. Moksha is a separate thing altogether, and we have to seek it independently, separately, with a determination. And then we got into Kathopanishad, where the story was told. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Jayakumar ji. Listening to you reminded me of the sessions I was part of, at Chinmaya Mission as he was going through the Kathopanishad classes. It was, in fact, my introduction to Vedanta through the Kathopanishad. And what really inspired me was Nachiketa, who was a 5-year-old boy, as you mentioned, and how he was able to see beyond, what is generally perceived as life to be. So that was very, very inspiring to me, and that was also validating the very fact that spirituality is not after a certain age. It is to be lived. It is in fact a choice. It is in fact a daily life that I'm committing to. So on that note, there are some questions that have come up, and I shall read them out to you, Jayakumar ji. So first, I had a question. Could you please share which Veda is the Kathopanishad part of, and who's the Muni or the the Acharya who has given us the Kathopanishad? Thank you.
Yeah, so I forgot to mention that. So Yajurveda is the Veda in which Kathopanishad is presented, and Yajurveda has two branches called Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda. They're called in English recension, but it doesn't matter what we call it in shakas. Okay, Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla, and Shukla is headed by Yajnavalkya Maharshi. He is responsible for Shukla Yajurveda, and then this Vaishampayana, who is the owner, so to speak. We all talk about ownership, right? Who is the owner of this project? Who is the owner of this task, etc. So owner is Vaishampayana. Then within this owner, he delegates a lot of stuff. Project manager doesn't do anything except delegating stuff and finding out, did you do that? Did you do that? Did you do that? So like that, Vaishampayana gave it to Katha Maharshi. Katha Maharshi. And so therefore this Upanishad is also called Kataka Upanishad. Kataka means a product of Katha. It's called Kataka. Kataka Upanishad. Sometimes you hear it is called Kathopanishad because it has this beautiful story. Katha, Katha, therefore Kathopanishad. But that's not correct because this Upanishad is not Kathopanishad, it is Kathopanishad. Tata Dadana cerebral versus Tata Dadana, this one, nasal. So, or rather dental. That's what it is.
Thank you, Jayakumar ji. And so is this part of Krishna Yajurveda?
Yeah, so this one is part of Krishna Yajurveda.
Right.
Of Vaishampayana.
Wonderful. So one of our viewers has asked the question, could you explain the difference between shloka and mantra? Also, Bhagavad Gita has shlokas. It's considered to be in Purva Mimamsa. Am I right? Please clarify.
So, Purva Mimamsa refers to the text written by Jaimini, expounding, elaborating on Karma Kanda. I said Vedas has two portions, content-wise two portions. Okay? Vedas can be divided into 4, etc. we saw, but content-wise two. What is it? Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Karma Kanda talks about ways to achieve Dharma, Artha and Kama. Moksha talks about that Jnana Kanda, especially Advaita Vedanta. This Jnana Kanda becomes very important, which is also called Upanishad, we said. And so Purva Mimamsa is generally referred to as the text written by Jaimini Maharshi. Purvamimamsa. Okay. And so that does not have Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is there in the Mahabharata. We know that very well. Mahabharata is authored by Vedavyasa, not by Jaimini. And so that is Jaimini's work. This is Vedavyasa's work. They are two separate works.
And the difference between shloka and mantra, Jayakumarji?
Right.
Yeah.
Shloka and mantra. So that's simple. Whatever I said, Shruti and Smriti, right? Vedas are also called Shruti, and any extract from the Veda is called a mantra. Mananat trayate iti mantraha. Trayate protects. Trahimam, pahimam, we say, right? Trahimam, protect me. So, mananat trayate. That whose meaning is understood and which therefore protects me is called a mantra. Mananat trayate. It's called mantra, and mantra comes from the Veda. Now, that doesn't mean something that is outside the Veda that I know the meaning of will not protect me. That is not the meaning. But anything from outside the Veda, which is in this metrical form, Anushtup Chandaha, Trishtup Chandaha, etc. Okay. So, Karmanyevadhikaraste, 8 syllables. Ma phaleshu kadachana, 8. Ma karma phala heturбhuः, 8. Ma te sangostva karmani, 8. 8 times 4, 32. So most of the shlokas in Bhagavad Gita are in this meter called Anushtup Chandaha. Occasionally you will find Trishtup, which is more, 11 times 4, 44 syllables will be there. Okay. And so the shlokas can be in any of these meters. There are many meters like that. And so the shloka is anything that comes from a text which is outside the Vedas. Mantra is that which comes from within the Veda. But sometimes loosely called mantra, shloka, etc. It's okay, we can loosely call it. And shloka from Kathopanishad, not wrong, but technical meaning is like that.
Thank you, Jayakumarji. One of our seekers is asking the meaning of the name Nachiketa.
Meaning of the Nachiketa. Okay. I looked up this thing in what is called Kalpadruma. Kalpadruma gives meanings. And there was not an easy definition. I could not gather an easy definition. And in fact, I don't think I found the word in this one. Kalpadruma and Vachaspati. Vachaspati, I don't think I found it. Vachaspatyam. And so, no, I don't know the actual etymological meaning of Nachiketa. Okay. I'll try to dig into it further and send you a note. And if you want to communicate it, if I find the answer, okay, later. Sorry about that. Okay.
Sure. No, thank you so much, Jayakumarji. So there aren't any further questions. Viewers, if there are any questions, please post it in the Q&A box and I shall read them and ask it to Jayakumarji. Meanwhile, could you, give us a brief overview of what is ahead in the next session in the evening, Jayakumarji?
Yeah. So, afternoon session. This dialogue will continue. We talked about 2 bones. So third bone is going to come, and that is going to launch that is the starting point for the rest of the Upanishad. And we will see several things, which is what is that bone? Of course, we will see, and then it is going to be Brahmavidyaa, and then we'll see what are the requirements of a student, of a shishya. Okay, what are the qualifications, right? All that we're going to see through that third bone, how that evolves, that dialogue between Nachiketa and Yama Dharmaraja. We're going to see all the qualifications that Nachiketa will display, okay, until a point where Yama is convinced that you are the right patram for it, and then he begins to teach, and so some mantras like that we're going to see.
Wonderful, and I would. Yes, I mean, this is a very essential part because, as you said, it sets the stage, and it shows the heroism, for a lack of a better word, the hero that is Nachiketa, that come, as a seeker, what he truly stands for will really be displayed in the coming verses or mantras. So I would really request, I would definitely be here, but I would also request all the seekers present here right now, gathered here, to also be there without fail for the afternoon session, which is at 4 p.m. And
so I have a question. I have a question for you, and that is, how come you said 2 hours? 2 into 2 per day, and then okay, I can sit because I'm used to sitting and teaching and all that. But about the audience, do you think they can sit for 2 hours?
it depends on the, how far their that yearning is. I feel.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah. So someone is asking, what is the difference between the Shukla Yajurveda and Krishna Yajurveda, Jayakumarji? Is it just two different authors, or is there more to it?
No, no. Definitely, the owners of these two are different. So remember, there is no author to the Vedas. Author is Apaurushaya. So we don't call Yagnavallika as the author of Shukla Yajurveda. So they are different recensions. So it came through different set of rishis. And so exact details about how these are different, I really don't know. And we know which Upanishads are in which Vedas. But no, these are all talking about, see, Veda has what is called Samhita and then Brahmana. These are looking at it at a different breakup of the Vedas, right? Samhita, Brahmana. Samhita talks about mantras for various types of rituals and upasana, dhyanam, meditation. Two kinds of rituals. One is kayikam karma. Kayikam karma means you have to do the yajna, you have to do the homa, you have to do the puja. With your limbs, body has to be involved in that. Mind is involved. Chanting is there, so the vocal cords are involved. The second type of karma is called upasanam. Upasanam means dhyanam, nididhyasanam, etc. Okay, those words are all synonymous here. And so upasanam. So Omkara upasanam will be there. Virat upasanam will be there. So you have to visualize Virat Devata in Agni. Okay, Nachiketa is going to be taught that. Okay, like that you have upasanams. So uh, the Samhita is going to talk the mantras about these things, and the Brahmana elaborates on those mantras. This is how we look at the content of the Vedas. Then there is Aranyakam and Upanishad. Upanishad often is in the Aranyakam section, sometimes in the mantra section, that is Samhita section. There is no firm rule about where the Upanishad should appear, but these are the way the Vedas are categorized. So Shaka wise, I think they must have similar content from this perspective.
Wonderful. Thank you so much once again, Jayakumar ji. I think we could close with that. And some of the viewers are asking where they could access the the sessions after this. I'm posting the link of our YouTube channel in the chat box for all your reference. You could visit our YouTube channel for not just watching this session, but many more sessions that we have hosted in the past. So here it is in the chat box. Thank you once again. And with that, we would conclude this session. We will meet again at 4 p.m. Thank you.
So there is another question here, and please explain once again Uttara Kamesh Vrata Yaga. So I think the Dr. Maheshwar Rao Sureddy is asking the question Putra Kameshti Yaga. That's what I mentioned. Okay, Putra Kameshti Yaga. That is what he's referring to, I think. So Putra Kameshti Yaga is a yaga. See, in our Vedas there are many yagas. Vajpayee Yaga. So our Vajpayee, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, they're all Vajpayeya. So they are all experts in conducting the Vajpayee Yajna. Okay. Ashwamedha Yajna. Ashwamedha Yajna means done by a king to establish superiority over others. Okay. By sending this horse, etc. There is a particular method to do the Ashwamedha. Like that, we have this Putra Kameshti. Putra Kameshti is not to gain superiority, other worlds and all. It's very practical in the sense I want children and I'm not able to get children. Therefore, putra kama ishti yagaha. Okay, the yaga done by the one who desires ishti kama for what? That has a kama for putra, children, children. And so that yaga, when done with Shraddha, Shraddha must be there. Without Shraddha doing and all, you can't keep on bothering them. When are you going to finish this? I have to go to work. This kind of forcing our Panditas to do stuff in 1 hour, 2 hours and all will not work. Shraddha, complete Shraddha, do whatever they are asking you to do. And then everybody has Shraddha in it. Then this thing will work. And then for rain also. Recently they did a yaga for getting rain, right? Rain was not coming, and so they did a yaga, and rains came. There's a story some years ago, okay, and in the north they did it. So all these are important rituals for us, right? So putra kameshti yaga, that is the meaning of that. One who desires, and so anybody can do it. Anybody can. The patra must be there, and so one has to follow the stipulations and get the and do the yaga.
Thank you, Jayakumar ji. So, shall we conclude now with that? And
So let me chant mantra
chant
here.
the yes.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. We'll meet again at 4 o'clock p.m.
Thank you.